All right, welcome back everyone. Since I had a chance to have a 4520N, I sort of wanted to do a fuel comparison test on this. The 4500Z and the 4520Z, great engine, great tractor. The only complaint anyone ever really had on it was that it consumed a little more fuel. This 4520N, the new Kubota EFI electronic fuel injection, that's going to be a pretty good game changer. It's going to make fuel efficiency probably a lot better, and that's what I want to see. Now I'm going to compare this to my 4500Y, which is the diesel, and the reason I'm going to do that is one, I have a 4500Y, so it's easy to do this test, and two, the diesel's probably hands down the most efficient fuel consuming Ventrac there is, followed by the Kawasaki, the 4500 or 4520P. Now, when I did this test, it was about 7 days since I mowed. Last week I had my 4520 out and I mowed and I topped off the tank, measured the can. We're going to do the same with this. And then I've waited 7 days now and the grass is, I would say, comparable to what it was then. It might be a little taller this week, but not much. I'm going to be using my 72-inch finish mower deck, and the reason I chose this is going to be the best test to give me the accuracy for this fuel consumption test. Now, Ventracs are mostly mowing a lot. That's their main task, so that's the other reason why. And it was just easier for me to mow the whole lawn and I can go over the exact same area again rather than trying to cut weeds or use a flail mower. Now to make this test fair, I'm going to be using, like I said, the 72-inch deck. It's going to be set at 3 3/4 inches, which is number 13. That's the same way I mowed last week. I'm going to try to do everything exactly the same, same path, just like I did. The only thing different is I'm not timing this. It's not going to be a time trial to see which one mows faster, and the reason for that is with me having to set up the camera and get you guys some different angles, it's just not going to be possible for a time thing, but it's going to be within 5 minutes. So really excited to see how this fares out compared to my diesel. Let me go ahead and get started and get this test away. All right, so I got my 4500Y here, and we're going to do a test on how much more fuel efficient the new 4520N with the fuel injected Kubota gas engine is compared to the Kubota diesel. So the front yard's pretty thick. It's been about a week or just over since I mowed. I'm going to do the same length of time in the test with the 4520N to do a fair comparison. The backyard's not as tall, but like I said, it's going to be a pretty general test. What I got here is a diesel can, and I got the same exact can in a gasoline can. I'm going to do it, but I got it taped off. The fuel level is just below this tape here. It's probably pretty hard for the camera to see it. I got it in the sun. But I'm going to take a gas can and fill it up to the exact same measurement. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to mow the lawn today with my 4500 with the diesel. And I'm going to come back and top it off. And we're going to do the same thing with the fuel injected Kubota gas engine. Now, what I did here is I had filled the tank with diesel fuel and I kept shaking the tractor and I got all the bubbles out that I could. I kept burping the tank, and the fuel level is just when it touches to come up the neck. So it's right at the bottom of the neck, and I'm going to do the same test with the gas, and then when we top them off, we'll measure, and it'll give us a general idea of, is the new fuel injected gas more efficient than the diesel? We're going to find out. All right, so I just finished mowing. We'll go ahead and top off the diesel. We'll go ahead and figure out how much fuel I used. Today I'm not going to be using the Mr. Funnel. I did a video on that, but I have to be able to see in here in the tank when I get to the proper level to do this test. I'm going to try to get all the air bubbles out, make sure we get a proper level here. All right, should be proper level, just where we were when we started. All right, so I got the fuel level topped off and I kept shaking the tractor to get all the air bubbles out, and we are right at where we started, maybe just a hair more, but that's fine. I got the can over here already marked out. So we used between here and here for diesel fuel. Let me get out my cheap little tape measure I had back here, and we'll measure that. So roughly, it says 4 1/4 is what I used on the diesel can. So we'll go ahead and do this test with the gas, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got the 4520 in. It's been exactly 1 week since I had cut with my 4500Y. This grass in the front still pretty tall and thick. I would almost say this may be a little taller than when I did the test with my tractor with the diesel, but the backyard's still a little dry, so it didn't grow as much. But all in all, I'd say the test is going to be fairly comparable to both machines for fuel usage. So, I mean, this isn't scientific. This isn't aerospace. This is just, you know, general tractors. So I'm going to try to do the best I can to give you guys just a general idea of how more fuel efficient the 4520N is compared to the Z. All right, so I'm topping off the 4520N and I'm using a different can. The one I have is already, I got it pre-marked. I had it filled up exactly to what the diesel can was to make this a fair test. So I'm going to top off the tractor with this can, and then when I'm done mowing, I'm going to use the other one. This tank here is black instead of clear like my diesel, so it's going to be a little harder to see. I needed a light. But I'm going to get it at the same level it was in the diesel, and I'll show you before we start the test. All right, I've been filling the tractor, and all I'm trying to do is just shake it and try to burp the tank to make sure there's no air bubbles in there, to make sure that we start off with the exact same amount of fuel. All right, so I got it filled up and I've been shaking it. I got all the air bubbles out. It's the same level as it was with the diesel to be a fair comparable test here. I will go ahead and show you this can. This one did swell up a little bit. I don't know if the sunlight, there's gonna be enough sunlight, but the level recedes and goes right at the bottom of that line. And that's exactly where it was on the diesel tank. So let me go ahead and get started. We'll mow with this and then we'll compare them at the end. All right, so all done mowing here. We're gonna go ahead and top off the 4520N and we'll see how much fuel that this consumed. All right, I got it topped off. Shake it a little bit to get all the air bubbles out. And that looks good right there. All right, so I got it topped off and it's right at the fuel neck where it starts up there, and I shook all the air bubbles out. So let me go ahead now and mark the can and we'll see the results. All right, so I'm all done mowing with the 4520N. Mowed the lawn today. I just got done topping it off. I marked the can. I have the results. I'll share them with you here in just 1 second. I did want to add a couple things. When I used my 4500Y, when I did the same test with the diesel, I used high range, and I used high range in the 4520 as well. And both machines, the diesel and this gas, were operated at full wide open throttle. So I wasn't lugging one or trying to make these results any different in any way, because I do these videos because I want you guys to see them So anyone out there making a purchase of a Ventrac, this is the kind of thing that you can take into consideration if you guys are wondering which one's better on fuel, which one power-wise, that kind of thing. So I do these videos to help you guys. I'm not trying to alter the results in any way. One thing I wanted to add is the Ventrac 4520. I do have 2 extra suitcase weights on it and a 3-point hitch. So that might have gave it a little bit of a handicap on that result. I don't think that that extra weight is going to be a drastic point, but I did want to note that. One other thing with this tractor is today the grass was a little bit taller than normal. So I would say compared to when I mowed with the diesel, the grass was taller and thicker in some spots, but there again, you're talking minimal. I mean, it's going to add a little bit, but I don't think it'd be that drastic. So the results are in. I wasn't expecting them to turn out quite like this, but I'll go ahead and show you here and share. All right, so here's the results. I put my light behind them and I could see through there really good. So the tape is exactly what was used. The diesel fuel measured out at like 4 1/4 inch of fuel used in the can, and the 4520N used 6.5. So the gas Kubota still uses more fuel, consumes more fuel than the diesel, but I feel it's considerably less than the Z model. So, all right, so the results showed, 4 1/4 for the diesel, 6.5 for the gas. I figured they were going to be a little closer. I figured the gas, maybe I was figuring on like 5 inches, you know what I mean? So it's not drastic. I'm not disappointed with this machine and the results at all. Compared to the Z, the fuel efficiency is definitely improved, and this is a new machine, so it's not broken fully yet too. So got to take that a little bit of consideration compared to my diesel. It's got 250 more hours on it. So other than that, I'd like to get a 4520P, and I'd like to test one of them out too, just to sort of see, to do the same test. I'm going to try to do that for you guys. Hope this video helped, maybe a decision making or just for anyone that was curious. I got more Ventrac videos to come. As always, thanks for watching.